Hello, everyone. My name is John Cornelio. I'm here again with I'm Rutko. Today we have the great Cash Jagger. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Kash Jaeger music, or my real name is Kash Filburn. The middle name is after Mick Jagger, not
Mhm.
spelled the same way, but that's kind of where the inspiration came from.
What's been your journey to music, or can you tell us more how you started with this whole music journey that you have?
The reason I started playing music, I've always been interested in music since I was in the womb. My parents said that I was kicking to the beat of songs, but I didn't take an interest in actually dedicating myself into an instrument until I was like, I think either 12 or 13. My parents had tried to get me into guitar and drums when I was like 4 or 5. They got the instruments. They just didn't get music lessons, which I think they just kind of let me screw around. My friend group at the time, they had started kind of a band starting. A few people played instruments, and that was sort of the idea. And I was like, well, they need a drummer. Drums look cool. Let's ask for a drum set for Christmas. I think I was 13.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I got the drum set. I think me starting playing with other musicians definitely helped keep me interested. Within a year, we had done like open mics and stuff. We were terrible and we couldn't play them very well, but that was where I started. And then my grandmother told me that the youth band at her church needed more drummers. And so, not really knowing too much about church or youth band or really anything, I was just like, okay, sure, let's go. The music director was this guy named Louis Padilla. He's actually Filipino. He sort of took me under his wing, and I just got better and better and better. We played shows, and there was all of a sudden this like huge growth. After that, that kind of evolved into this band called Straight On Till Morning. Once Straight On Till Morning was done, that was when I kind of realized, okay, like I'm a great drummer, and I sort of went off on my own, and I started kind of being less committed. I started doing more like fill-in stuff. And then that was how I realized how much people need a great drummer. And so that was kind of what got the cogs turning of like, oh, I can turn this into a career because like there's a demand for it, you know? Right out of high school, I became very infatuated with this band called Dance Gavin Dance. And someone posted in a Facebook forum saying they were influenced by those bands and their new project was looking for a drummer. And so I was like, oh, okay, this actually seems like something I could dedicate myself to. I go try out for this band that turns out to be Gold Season, my first actual touring project. We made some really great music and did some touring, and that was how I got started with that. And then, you know, that went on for about 2 or 3 years. And then I kind of fell back into some more just fill in stuff, just kind of riding the wave, playing where people needed me. And then, you know, fast forward to 20 or 21,
Okay.
started getting into posting on Instagram and TikTok, and that led to some more touring opportunities with bands like Mother Sound and In Ghosts and The Breaking Pattern. And then I guess things kind of started to pick up with when I started playing drums for Rio. This is kind of when I started getting interested in more of my role as a music director, meeting a standalone pop artist,
Mm-hmm.
bringing in the musicians with
Mm-hmm.
me and creating live arrangements of the songs from the more electronic produced versions that are on the record. And that was when I kind of realized what I wanted to do. I want to be a live session drummer, but I also want to be a producer and a music director. So this is when I started sort of pushing into how do I use Logic? How do I use Ableton? How do bands earn backing tracks live? What's the best way to put together and mix those backing tracks? What kind of musicians do I need to bring in for what project? And you know, as I worked with Rio, I discovered my love for that. And then that worked for about 2 or 3 years. We did some touring, same kind of routine. And I met some really great musicians through that. Eventually moved on into doing some more fill-in and session work after Rio. And then I finally landed with current stuff that I'm doing. I linked up with Sorry X, took on the role as music director, stage manager, drummer, throughout sort of trying to monetize my craft and network and work with various people. This desire to have something that was my own sort of arose. And so that's where Hakol Havel came from, spelled HKL, HVL, all caps. And so that's kind of my main creative outlet where I'll really push myself creatively. And then everything outside of that is still sort of fill in session work. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. That's paying the bills and keeping me happy. And I feel like I have a huge sense of direction right now.
The next question I have here is, what's your process